Okay, so concept is conditional statements. Conditional statements. So this is conditional statements. Like in Python, we have uh, not only Python, every programming language, right? It has conditional checks, conditional blocks. So in C programming, we might have seen that if block, right? If, else, right? So that even in Python we have same thing, but when it comes to Python, so we have if block instead of else if, right? We in C programming or Java, I don't know, but when it comes to those languages, we have else if, but in Python, elif. Else if is equal to elif, and so else is else. All right, and when it comes to the syntax, right? Syntax is very simple. If some condition, based on the condition, like in other languages, right? We used to keep a square, what we can say, curly braces for making a block, but in Python we used to give space actually, meaning, so here let's say uh, statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. So meaning, so the like whatever we write in Python, these all are statements only. Okay, but see, these three statements will execute based on some condition. If condition is true, for example, if condition, right? In this, if condition becomes true, then only this is a conditional based execution. Imagine these all are conditions, statements. This executes. This executes still. When it comes to execution, so single comment will be skipped, multi comment will be skipped, right? So anyway, this all are in the conditional, like multi-line, multi commented line, right? But so this particular line which would execute based on certain condition. Okay, let's quickly have one example to understand this better. Okay, and so to understand this concept, you must have understood yesterday's one operators. Okay, so when it comes to operators, right? Especially comparison operators, condition, like comparison operators, equality check operators. Those are very important. Also, we had this is a session on Boolean expressions, right? Like Boolean. So what are all zero? What are all one? Right? So when it comes to number is zero. Like other than zero, all are true cases only. Other than empty list, all are true cases only. Correct? If list is having some items which is true case, meaning condition become true. Okay, let's check this. Let me give a detailed example on this. For example, let's I created two numbers. Let's say number 1 equal to 0, and I had another variable number 2 equal to, for example, 10. Right? Yeah. Now one got settled completely. Yeah. Cool. So here we have two statements, number 1 and number 2. Right? And if, for example, see, condition become anything. It can be a variable also. See, for example, how we can, let's say number 1, let's say greater than -5, for example. Then do one thing, please say, hey, number 1 is greater than -5. Let's say print number 1 is a negative number. Negative number 1 is a negative number, for example. And also one more statement, say print, say like some like uh, number 1 is, for instance, we should write number. Got it? See, this is a small snippet which we have written just now. to understand how this conditional statement will work. Okay, so as part of this statement, if condition, right? If certain condition, if condition okay, then only it execute these blocks. If condition is not okay, let's say if condition is failed, for example, for some reason, right? This statement will not be executed. This block, the whole if block will be skipped. Okay, so this whole block is inside if, right? So there is a whole inside if block. Okay, let me give you a heads up. If block started, ended. Got it? What I mean? So if condition satisfied, then only this will be executed. Otherwise, no. For example, let me quickly execute this. So here 0 is bigger than -5. True or false? Which is true, correct? If I go and execute, I should see all these statements here. Did you see it? See, number 1 is positive number and number 1 is 0. You got it? So what I'm doing, if condition is satisfied, I'm just saying some statement, display statement saying that, hey, number 1 is a positive number, and I am just printing the number 1 value as well. You got it? So why I made these two statements, right, to make a difference. Otherwise, you must not understand like how this will be. Okay, and let me also add outside of the if block. So this is inside if block, correct? Outside of if block, let me have one more statement. Say print, uh, say program ended. Let's say this. If I execute this statement again, see this, it has two initializations, like two integer initializations. We define two integer variables, and we define a small conditional block where we define if number 1 greater than -5, like it is 0 greater than -5, which is true. That's why it entered here and executed these two statements. That's where you are seeing these outputs on the screen. And now I just added one more line here. So if I execute this, right? See, and remember, this print statement is out of the if block. Okay, it is no more linked. Now let me make the program to crash. Okay, so let's say -20. Number 1 is -20. Okay, so -20 greater than -5, which is false, right? So this time what will be the output? Who can tell me? See, -20. Exactly. The reason is very simple. So -20 is smaller than -5, because -5 is bigger, right? When it comes to negative numbers. So if I execute this program now, your output will be program ended. The reason is simple. So this block is skipped. So it comes, it executes this line, it executes, comes and check the condition. Since condition failed, right? So this will be completely, the whole, as soon as the condition fails, the whole if block will be skipped. Okay, this will not be executed, and it will directly jump into out of the if block, and whatever the statement it has, it simply execute them. Got it? Yeah. So this one sample example, and so since I had other one also, so this is like a simple if block. Okay, simple, this is simple if block, and this would only check certain conditions. Let's say if number 1 greater than 5. Okay, this is simple. As I mentioned, this is simple. Let me have some other one, other example. This time, in the same example, I'll just modify the statements. Okay, let me also have number 3. Number 3 equal to, let's say, 15, for example, or any other number. That's okay. And here the condition now, if number 1 greater than number 5. Okay, just to understand this one, this operators, and number 1 less than or number 1 is minus 20. Let me make it to some other number. For example, make it 5. Okay, this is true. And number 1, so I'm just checking 4. Here in this example, what we are doing? It's very simple. See, number 1 is 5. Number 2 is okay. This having this is, let me print. If condition is true, I'll just print only number 1. Okay, number 1 value. Got it? And here, so when it comes to this particular statement, right? Number 1 is 5. When it comes to the very first statement, so how this will be translated? See, we have discussed this yesterday on the operator concept. So number one is 5, 5 greater than minus 5, which is true, and number 1, 5 less than 4. Got it? How this will be translated? This will be translated to, so first condition is true, right? And second is false. Got it? So this block will be skipped now this time. If I execute this, it would say program ended. The reason is very simple. Since the condition, one of the condition got failed, that's where it got skipped. So to make it succeeded, for example, if I change slightly like this, right? So now what will happen? Minus 5 greater than minus 5. This is true. And whatever the false, right? So now I made this to ulta. Correct? So this become 5 greater than 5 minus 5, true, and 5 greater than 4, which is true. And if I execute this now, you would see number one is 5 because this block will be executed, and also you're seeing program is ended. You got it? Likewise, you can make a number of conditional checks. Got it? Let's say and number 2 less than, for example, number 2 is 10, right? Let me make number 2 less than 45, for example. So number 2 is 10. So 10 less than 45, which is still true. Got it? So here 10 less than 45, right? Got it? So whatever we have applied yesterday, whatever examples we have tried with the conditional based operators, right? So please experiment it. Okay. And if number 1, like if all condition is true, this time since number 2 also added, just to have one more line. So there is no more linked, no more required, but to add some more statements, right? I'm just adding one more. Say number 2 is here, number 2. Got it? Just adding, just to give a categorical block, this if block, right? If I execute this now you would see clearly. See, number 1 is 5, number 2 is 10, and program ended. This because the condition is true. If one of the condition fail, this will be skipped, right? Now let me make it number 2 greater than 45, number 45. If I execute, this will be skipped this time, right? Because the condition become false. Got it? So for giving, quick heads up, I just like changing these symbols, but please revisit video, whenever you had doubt on this. Okay, yeah. So this is about simple if block, with single condition, and also we tried with multiple conditions, right? 2 or more. And this is, guys, I'm telling you, understanding of conditional statements are critically important. Okay, because whatever in the complete application development, we always do a conditional block. Whatever program we write, let's say if we are written 20 lines of program, there must be a conditional check. If person is available, let's say if person is having access, then only allowed him to perform some other action. again in role based access, like whatever it is, authentication, authorization, whatever we are doing, we are almost using conditional statements. So having a sound understanding of conditional statement is too critical. All right. Next example, you can, like as I mentioned, so this is a simple if block, right? We can also have one more else if block, else if followed by if. Let's say condition 1, condition 2. Got it? So now, like in conditional, I just added one more block, which is else if block. Okay, let's have an experiment with this. Say, for example, number list equal to some number, some list containing other data also, and some tuple, for example, and let's say India. You got it? So now the list is having all the items. Okay. So list is having integer, another list, another tuple, and string. Got it? Now, so to give a simple example for this, right? So example we are referring is if and elif. So if, let's say, I just want to check if number 5 in number list. Got it? Then say 5 present, 5 present in the, got it? Cool. Let's execute. See, when you're writing a program, as soon as you moving right, keep checking whether you're right. Cool. Your program does not have any issues. Okay. And here, since it is not printing because 5 is not present in this num list, right? Cool. And so this is one check. Okay, as mentioned. And let's say ELIF. For example, let me check. So previous condition is a false condition. Now let me make it some true condition. Let's say 20 in num list, right? Then print 10% in the num list. Got it? So if you look at this example, now I'm checking 20, right? Yeah. Now if I execute this, what happens? See, now we had multiple conditions. Okay, so multiple conditional blocks. First condition, we are checking whether number 5 is correct. Number 5 is exist in this number list, which is incorrect because number 5 is no more available. Okay, so when you say, even we have discussed clearly that you are exactly checking number 5, right? But when it comes to here, the 5 is available but not in the, not a number, right? 5 is not a number here, so 5 is inside tuple. So that's where it cannot search this to find 5 actually when it comes to lookup, right? So lookup exactly checks, it exactly checks whether 5 is present or not. So this is not a 5, it's not a 5, this is not a 5, this is not a 5 because this is a tuple. Got it? We already had discussion, deep discussion on this. So this is fail condition, okay? Because since 5 is not there, a condition become false. If condition is false, block will be skipped, okay? And elif 20 in num list. So 20 is available. If you look at this, it will check from beginning. Okay, it's not 20. Yeah, there you go. I found 20. Then what it will do is it simply like if the condition is true, it executes this statements. Okay. If I execute this now, see 20 present in this list. Got it? Also, if statement you can only use once. Okay. But when it comes to ELIF, you can perform a number of ELIF. So let's say ELIF. For example, this time I'm just checking India, for example. India in num list. Okay, print India is present. Oh, name it I don't like because it's not a num list. It's a mixed list, right? So we can change it later. That's okay. Still, yeah. So now when it comes to this, right, guys, and one more important thing, when you had a when you start with if block and followed by elif block, right? Keep remember, though we have a number of blocks, a number of conditional blocks, only only one block will be executed. Let's say though I had, for example, again here this time I'm just checking whether 10 is available, for example. Okay. So what did you notice here? Only first block got failed because 5 is not available in the list. But when it comes to 20, available. India string available and 10 is available. Okay. So which is true. Even today, if I ask some 3 years experienced people, if I ask, hey, can you tell me what will be the output of this? In the interview, guys, to be honest with you, they'll say like it will print, it will come here, it will fail, and it will print second elif block. Also print this is also condition true. It will print this as well, and this prints last block as well. Okay, so that is completely wrong, right? Because when it comes to conditional statements, when we had multiple blocks here in the followed by if, okay, it consider the whole thing is one block, and these are sub blocks. Understood? So when it comes to conditional statements, it considers everything is single block, and these are sub blocks in this. Okay, and only one block will be executed. Though we have multiple blocks which has a true condition, but only one block will be executed, which is very first true block. Okay, in this example, who can tell me what will be the output of this? 20 present in the list, right? Because yeah, only this particular block will be executed, and remaining will be skipped, even though it is true blocks. Got it? Generally, when we do this, right? So if you want to perform multiple conditional checks, let's say if anyway, I'll have a nice use cases, but understand the actual concept. Okay, so when we have multiple blocks, only first block will be very first true block will be executed. If I execute this now, you'll only see output. Did you see it? Only 20 present in the list. Got it? So understanding these concepts are very, very critical, guys. So otherwise, you will not cope up with the sessions. Got it? Any confusion or anything here? You're good, correct? Right. So this is one example. Let's say example. I will also say output is this. Detailed example, detailed explanation I have already given. Okay, cool. Next. So when it comes to this one, let me use the same example, but slightly change the conditions, right? Let me make everything to false now. Let's say here 5 false. Let me make 34. Let's check with the US. Okay. So now in this current program, if I execute, what will be the output? Quickly, right. So which is 10 is present in the list. Got it? Yeah. So let me also make this also fast. For example, let's say 45. Right? If I execute this now you're not seeing any output on the screen because every condition listed out here, which is false. See? False, 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 and false. Got it? Yeah. So so this kind of scenario, that's where the else block will be introduced actually. So when there is nothing is executing, at least do this action, print, say I am a default, I'm a default else block. No, this message can be anything, I'm just writing some text here, that's it. See, if I execute this time I'm a default else block. So how the execution flow will be, see, it defines here, you have defined a mixer list and you are just checking condition 1, condition 2, 3, 4. But what happened? Out of all, every condition got failed. So else block will be reached if no other if or elif block are succeeded. You got it what I mean? So if all conditional block got failed, then only else block will be executed. Else is a default block. Okay, so this is a combination. So you can write if followed by elif, or you can also write if followed by else. Let me give an example of that as well. Let's say you have defined some number. I'm checking if 5 in number list, for example, 5 present in the list. If it is true, for example, else, did you see it? See, wherever you started, if you should write here, else, print, let's say, for example, when we use, right, so if it is condition is true, you are printing this message. If condition is false, say 5 is not available. Got it? If I execute this, it says, hey, 5 is not available. The reason is very simple because when it comes to this lookup, it look for number 5. Number 5 is not present, right? So that's where condition got failed. And as soon as the condition failed, this block will be skipped. It will go and check the other block. Since there is no other conditional blocks but default else block, right? It simply executes this block. If condition fails, if block fails, then only it will go to else block. Got it? Any questions in this? Any doubts? Right? Cool. Yeah. And also you can. Mhm. Oh, here? No, you have to print the index number. Let's say num list of, if you want to print tuple of this 4, 5, 6. So as mentioned, list supports indexing, right? Indexing starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Got it? If you want to access tuple now, which is 3, right? So simply you should say num list of 3. So this prints tuple of 4, 5, 6. Did you see this? But where you are no, I'm not printing this. See, I'm saying whether number 5 is present in this list, in this list or not. it is no more present, right? Okay. Anyway, I'll have a detailed discussion on this one more time, Yeah, you got it. So we can do a simple simple if and else block like this. And also you can see for learning purpose, right? What you can do is uh, to make it more easier to understand these concepts. So always, right? For example, if make it, you can directly use boolean also instead of conditional, right? Instead of condition, as mentioned. See, this is some conditional. Okay. So if since you understood the boolean stuff, right? With numbers, list, tuple, you can also directly use like this number too, no? You can directly use the boolean value. For example, true. Just say, for example, hi. ELIF, for example, true. Hello. So when you are learning, right, please learn this style. This is easy. You got it? See, when you execute this, it is clear that, like, who can tell me what will be the output? See, we have multiple conditions here, multiple conditional blocks, right? And as you mentioned, it is clear that the whole thing is one block, and these are the sub blocks. Only one block will be executed, okay, which is very first true block. Now, who can tell me the answer? I given the explanation, but answer will be the first true block, right? The very first true block. Well, for very first true block is if block, right? And remaining will be skipped. Got it? Now, if you want to if you want to understand the other way, right? So, for example, now let me make it false. Like mandatorily I'm making it false. Manually I'm just setting this to false. Now, who can tell me what will be the output? No. How? By? Because see, you have false, you have true block here, right? So it will go to else block only if every above blocks are false. But there is one guy who is sitting here, whose condition is true. Right. Hmm? No, we were directly making condition to true. See, generally when we are okay. So for example, when we are making this condition, let's say 5 double equal to 5. Let's say, for example. So what is the value of this? Because this will be, see, this condition, this will translate it to true, correct? So now what I'm not making any conditional checks here. Instead, directly I'm making the value here, true or false, in the conditional statement. You got it? Yeah. It's a valid question. So how, like, where this true false are coming out, right? So instead of making some conditional translation, I'm directly keeping that value. Hey, this you are a false block. You are a false block. You are true block. Instead of putting some condition. So that's where I ask you to do some fun in this, so that you will understand how which block it will go. Because when it comes to the real time, right, you will have a number of conditional blocks. We need to really understand to which block it is exactly going in, to give such context, right? So that's where I ask you to play. Got it? And in the real time, right, if I ask, as mentioned, so when it comes to true blocks, if I ask the candidate, for example, what will be the output of this? They'll say hi, hello, true. Like hi, hello, and hey, right? I'll say bye. Why? Because this guy is not selected. but majority of the people, right? So they'll say like it will be print hi, hello, and hey, right? The interior answer will be bye. He'll, he is not selected. Got it? Yeah. So playing with this is, guys, this concept looks, for you maybe very silly or like very easy going topic, but originally not. Like even if you want to experiment, right? Talk to any of the developer who is close to you and just ask them, hey, if I all like just share this program and ask them for output. Majority of people they'll say wrong answer only, right? Even see, I don't want to demotivate Sai, but Sai got with so much experience, right? But still, he's asking question here. Not only he, like this is like a kind of a confusion topic where people get easily get confused. Imagine you are doing some critical operation in your company for your application development, right? And if you don't understand this properly, you can't even troubleshoot where the issue is exactly. You got it? Because this exactly goes with multiple checks, right? So multiple checks. Let's say if true, like for you it looks very simple now. Like I can have let me demonstrate something. Like, uh, no, this is who's 1 second. This is not a idea. Yeah, here for example, let's say if some response is if it is a valid response, then only we were returning some success message. But never mind, this looks complex to you, but once you understand this concept in a easiest way, right? The other concepts are very very easy. Okay, we can easily find out how this can be implemented. Got it? So any questions in this? Good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So as mentioned, so each block actually, see, currently based on the business scenario, only certain logic will be executed. Okay, if you want to execute multiple logics, for example, so this is only meant to execute single block. If you want to execute multiple conditions, let's say multiple ones, for example, so that time what you need to do is you need to, so this is not, this will not, this is not supported. But if you want to execute multiple, right? So you should not write like this. You should not keep elif block. Instead, keep every elif block as a if block only. I'll show you. So for example, instead of L, now this would consider individual if blocks. You got it? So here, this is the whole thing is one block. But here in this particular example, you can keep like this. This way. Now you got it, Priyanka? So this is meant to perform only in like one conditional execution. Okay, based on some condition, you can only do some action. But when it comes to this, please execute every, no matter what, it execute every condition. So this is the difference. But it's a good question actually. Got it? Let me execute this. See, if you want to do this, now if we go ahead and execute, so these all are individual now. Did you see it? It got printed hi, hello, and hey. You got the difference now? Yeah, correct, exactly. Naveen, did you get it, Naveen? Nice. So you can, that's what. So you can write individual if block. You can write followed by elif block, or you can followed by else if block. So as mentioned, you can use like Let me quickly give some more context. Is so you can so you can also have a simple if block. You can have if block followed by elif blocks, n number of elif blocks. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, I thought someone is knocking the door. That's okay. Yeah. Next, if you want to use else, right? So else you cannot directly write. So you cannot write else like else with only else, right? You cannot write else. No, this is not permitted. You got it? So let's try that. So else is only followed with if block. Okay, if I execute this, it will cry, hey, it's a syntax, invalid syntax. Why? The reason is very simple. Else is only followed by if block. If block is not there, you cannot write else block. Even elif block also you cannot write. You cannot individually write elif block. Elif block and else block should only followed by if block. For example, let's say if I write elif, right? This is not permitted. Again, syntax error. Got it? But you can, this elif block can be followed by if block. So you can say if, for example, 10 greater than 5, right? And even if you don't give anything, also fine. If you just had some, uh, elif should have some condition, right? Let's say true, for example. Who can tell me what will be the output? Molly, you want to try? I think Molly, or you speak on mute. Guys, am I audible or no? Okay, no problem. Hey, Molly, so try to help. Like I'll help you out. Okay, here. See, if some condition here, right? So what is the condition? 10 greater than 5, which is true or false? True, correct, Molly? True, true, right? And let me have some data. Let's say that's fine. In some junk text, that's fine. If true, what will happen? See, if it is true, as mentioned, only very first plug will be executed, right? First true plug will be executed. It is true, then what it will do? It simply, hey, for example, right? And how about the other one? See, since followed by if block followed by elif, right? The only one, this is the whole bunch of stuff is one block. Only one block will be executed. One sub block will be executed. Okay. So here, what will be the output, Mali, now? Hey, correct? Yeah. Did you get it now? So that's where I asked you to play with this. So there is, yeah, playing with this is very important. All right. And let's have one more example. So this time I'll make a program to fail for all the cases. Let's say 10 less than 5, true, and else. By Naveen, so what would be the answer, Naveen, in this? Again, this whole thing is one block, correct? And we had 3 blocks now. In these 3 blocks, only one block will be executed for sure, right? And we had a false, like very first one is false block. If block is false, then this block, the if block will be skipped. It will go and check for elif block. Here the condition is true, right? And when it comes to true, so it will execute the print statement. I am else. I'm not else, right? I'm just telling. Got it. So, and this will be skipped. Guys, only one formula. Okay, only one. If you see if elif else, only one block will be executed. Okay, the formula is simple. else block will be executed if all the blocks got failed. Okay, got it? And this required, like, let me rethink how I can explain this in easiest way. Okay, I'll type it down. If ELIF and else blocks. If you see a program containing all the all the three blocks, only one block will be executed, that is very first true block. Got it? So this is a statement. Oh, yeah. Example. Example. And on second. If you see a program containing all the three blocks, which is if ELIF and else block, only one block will be executed, that is very first true block, and other blocks will be skipped from the execution. Got it? And that is first. Next, else block will be executed if all, if ELIF blocks are having false conditions. Got it? So this to justify this, let me give a small example, because since you got confused, so I want to give a clear example, because I don't want to make you an uncomfortable zone. If true, print, let's say, as mentioned, hi ELIF true, print hello ELIF true, ELIF or else default. Okay, so to give the context, right? All right. So this is the explanation. Okay. If you see a program containing all the three blocks, if, elif, and else block, only one block will be executed. That is very first two block, and all other blocks will be skipped from the execution. Okay, cool. And else block, right? So else block will be executed only if all the if, elif blocks are having false conditions. You got it? Cool. Now, to justify this above statement, right? Whatever I just made here, only the very first true block will be executed. How? Because if block itself having the very first condition itself true, so it will not check any other things. Remaining will be skipped. Output will be output is high. Okay. And when it comes to the other explanation, for example, let me give one more explanation. So where, let's say, first two blocks are first first two blocks are false, for example. Okay, or let me make a second block true, and yeah, like this. So this time, what will be the output? So output will be, right. So output will be when we are doing this, right? See, it comes here. Block is fail because conditions fail. It skips execution of these statements. And when it comes to second block, elif block, elif block has true condition. Simply it prints hello, right? So as soon as it meets, only one block, as I mentioned, right? When you had a combination of if, elif, and else, only one block will be executed. Remaining will be skipped out, right? In this example, to justify that, so very first true block is elif, very first elif block, which has print statement hello, and remaining will be skipped. Remaining will be not be executed, simply skipped, and output will be hello. Okay, and if I go with the other one to justify else block now, so I'm making all the conditions to false, false, false. So this time what happened? See, all it is when it comes to this kind of scenario where all the conditions got fail in if and elif conditions, right? Let's say first if block got failed because the conditions fail, and remaining two else if block also failed because conditions fail. If any if the all the condition above conditions got failed in if and elif blocks, then only it executes the else block. So for this output will be default. Got it? Any more confusion in this? It's clear now. Okay, sounds good. So the for you handout will be try out with. So currently I have used directly a boolean value true and false. Your example will be try it with numbers, list, tuple, string, set, and dictionary. So let me quickly give one example for this so that it will be easier. Okay. So I'll use the same program. Let's say here when it comes to numbers. So for example, let's say 10, right? This time what happened? So if 10, right? So what will be the output here in this? So if 10 means true or false? Who can tell me? Other than 0, all are false, right? No, other than 0, all are true conditions. But here 10 is what? 10 is a positive number. If it is a positive number or negative number, any number which is true only, right? The output will be high. Got it? So this with number. So let me give the same example with the list. For example, if we had a, let's say I'll make the first condition to 0 because false. And here this example I'll be using list concept. So when it comes to list concept, If it is empty list, for example, empty list means what? List not containing any items in it, right? But if you want to make some true condition, say empty list is false. In the on the other day, you have sent me the uh, you know uh, tabular format where you are clearly distinguished between what is true and what is false, right? Here, let's say for example I made 5 commas or 6 comma 7 for example, so which means list is having some items in it, right? So it checks 0, 0 is false. And when it comes to ELIF, so here we had a list actually as a condition, but it's not a condition. It like we were see, when it comes to condition, right? The condition will be translated to boolean. Okay, now we should understand what is the boolean equivalent to this, right? So how we can check whether which is true or false? Even if you want to experiment, manually to check whether this particular one is true or false, right? How we can do it? You can directly type bool of list of 6 comma 7, so that you will understand, okay, whether it is true or false. Got it? If you don't understand, let's say to check whether this is a true or false value, right? If you apply this function, boolean function, and the other concept, we had a session on this, and where I explained neatly on the when it comes to the uh, you know operators concepts, right? So it is clear, even operators, even in the data types, I've clearly explained what is boolean, boolean function, and what kind of input it will take, and what is the output of it. So boolean function always returns a boolean value which is true or false. If it is this, let's say in this case it would return a true value, but whereas in, let's say, bool of empty list, right? So for example like this, then this is a false value. You got it? What I mean? So when it comes to particular this scenario, where what will be the output? So here we had 6 comma 7, right? List of 6 comma 7, which is true case. Boolean equal to this is true, right? Since the condition is true, only hello will be printed out. Got it? And as a given, membership operators, right? Equality check operators. So even you can try. So when I say list, right, you should try out all the examples which I have discussed when it comes to the operators. So you can try out like this. So list is currently having some items. Make it list to empty. Now this also false condition, right? Now in the list example, what I'll do is I'll check whether uh, certain text is present or not. Or let's say 10 double equal to 10, for example. So this is true, right? And if 10 double equal to 1, for example, which is false. And this particular scenario, who can tell me the output? The output is 0, false, 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 and you'll have default. You got it? How this can be translated? Yeah, now you are on track. Yeah, sounds good. And when it comes to other way around, right? Let's say if you want to check um, 45 in 4 comma 5, for example. Now what will be the output, guys? I just tricked you, that's it. Default. I just tricked you saying, 4 comma 5. Hey, there is a 4 here and there is a 5 here. 4, but boss, 4 is different, 45 is different, right? These are just numbers. Okay. But to make a difference, if I make a 4 comma 6 comma 5, now you can understand, oh, this is different. Okay. I just tricked you other way around. All right. Now this is the default. Got it? And very important to understand these concepts, guys. Very important, critical, I would say. Understanding these functions are very critical, because in the conditions, right, when we are using API development, for example, we will get a status code. You were seeing, right, you will get 404, for example, right? See, when you are making API call, 505, 503, 501, whatever it is, whatever the status code, right? Based on certain condition, you need to perform some actions. So if API is responding 200 status code, which means success, right? That time what you do is, if let's say uh, if response response dot status code equal to 200, for example, double equal to 200, okay, then only say API success, API call. Got it? So like we will write in very most advanced way, but to give you a small context to understand you, make you understand, oh, how this should be, right? So that's where I have given like this. You got it? But what we do is, when API call is successful, we will return the uh, the response body to the UI, saying that this is success. Okay, cool. But you understood, right? There's the basic understanding. Yeah. Any confusion in this? So now we understood, like you can use you can use this in conditional, like when it comes to conditional, you need to understand how to make a conditional blocks, okay, using numbers, strings, sets, whatever it is, right? If you are using, but when it comes to dictionaries, so dictionaries, it will not check values. For example, let me give one more context here. Let's say here this is our program, and when it comes to dictionary, let's say 45 in dictionary of 1 colon 20 comma 2 colon 45. So what basically people will think, right? So when it comes to this scenario, right, see 45 is available, but when it comes to dictionaries check, right, see dictionaries have two values, right? One is key, other one is value. But when you are checking the something in dictionary, right, when you are checking, when you are doing a lookup in dictionary, it only look for certain keys, it will not look at values. You got it? So here 45, but your immediate next action would be, hey, so 45 is available here. No, it will not perform like that. It only checks whether 45 is in available in the key list. So here what is key is 1, value, yeah, is key is 1, here key is 2, but key 45 is not present. Did you get it what I mean? So that's why let me put a note. Lookup is, it only checks, it only checks in keys. Okay. So when it comes to dictionary understanding, dictionary is formed based on key and value pair, right? Let's say uh, key and value pair. It only checks for key. You got it what I mean? Now who can tell me what will be the output? Default. Yeah. So wrong, right? Wantedly I made it. Yeah, default. So let's execute it. If I go and execute this, come on. What was wrong actually here? Guys, simple. See, I made the statement here, but default is what? Like output, name error, right? The reason is very simple. See, this should be commented. For your reference, I made this line. Okay, that's where it is crying actually. Okay, if I execute now, this should be smooth and set default. Sounds good, guys? You understood? So you got lot of assignment uh, today. You got lot of assignment to complete, right? So there are so much good stuff to practice today on conditional statements. Please try out with multiple stunts. Even if I get, like even I'll try to figure out some other exercises which my previous student has done. Let me try to share them actually with you. that would even give you some insights about how these people are doing. Even that would add value to your practice. All right. Do you have any questions still, guys? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch up tomorrow, same time.